We were able to qualify better for this race because we upgraded our car and the testing performance kicked in, and we're using the hard tires, doing a 1 pit stop, and top 20 is very good for qualifying. We didn't drop too many places after the race start, and we chose the 1 stop because this track is very difficult to overtake. As we can see, the lap time is not hugely different between midfield and the quickest, unlike in the rookie class. And we have seen that throughout many races for the amateur season. You can see because we made our stint a bit longer, we were able to get some clear track and go up to top 7 before we do our pit stop. We can see that we're very close to finishing top 8 and gaining points in this race. We were 33 seconds slower. We already finished quite good, top 14, but we will be able to finish a few more places ahead, around top 12, top 9, and that would be superb. Our driver still made 3 mistakes in the race, and I checked the replay. One was during overtaking, and we know from past experience making 2 mistakes in a race with this sort of risk is normal. So it's definitely because the last few races we had too much overtaking risk, that's why we lost a lot of time. If our driver made one less mistake and we made him push a bit harder to not save on car wear, we would potentially have finished much better and got that top 12 or so, and that would be superb. You can see that we got 10 million this race, so by finishing a little bit better, easily we can gain 500k or a few million, and it will pay off the cost of upgrading the car parts. You can see that we tried to make a lot of overtaking, but most of it got blocked, and we were also able to block others because our driver is quite young, 25 or so. We can see every race we gain experience, while with some of the older drivers we used to have around 30 or 35, then you only gain experience every 2 or 3 races, and that would reduce the amount of performance you have in a season. We're also going to train the driver again as we used to and reduce the weight because it's the most efficient. I also think that getting some motivation would help the driver reduce mistakes in the race, but whenever we train our driver to reduce the weight, the motivation reduces, and we're not finishing that good in the race, so the motivation reduces again. So even if we use the training, the psychologist, to increase the motivation, it would do nothing for us because we'll lose all of that motivation anyways. If we check our sponsor negotiation, we're pulling away from the pack, and I think we have the quickest progress, so it's quite good, and we're potentially guaranteed to get it. I copied the race results into my calculator tool. The car wear is same as the calculator suggested, but I forgot to put the 1% extra wear from doing 1 pit stop compared to 2. And our lap times were still flat throughout the race, so the wear compensation is spot on. You can see this race, the tire wear was 9% less than what we calculated, and we applied a 5% offset because some tracks we get 5% more. For the race that we're going to do, it's going to be a 1 pit stop. I had a look already, and we have quite a few car parts that we can downgrade and finish the race. Last race I was thinking maybe I can do some testing before I change some car parts, but I forgot that my rear wing would be 94 way after this race. I thought everything else would be below 90, and below 90 you can do testing and make it go to 95 or so before we change it, and after we change the part we can still go back to testing, and that would be a bit more efficient. And we can see that we got 2 extra points from the testing that we've done. Nothing, the amount of points we have right now is quite good. If we had 20 or 10 levels in all of the facilities, potentially we would gain 10 to 12 points in each category, so definitely we would need to have upgraded our facilities a little bit to be more efficient, and we haven't upgraded our testing facilities since the start of last season before we promoted. If we look at our car, and we can downgrade the chassis and front wing and upgrade the rear, and we will have comfortable wear to make it to the end. The 2 parts that we're downgrading is moderately going to affect our car performance, but if we spend too much money we'll lose the chance of upgrading parts or testing for mid-season. I still think this would be the best option right now to push the wear as much as we can, though we're gonna get a bit more revenue for finishing faster. You can see that we lost only about 2 points in power and maybe 2 in handling, so that's literally not going to affect our performance at all. I think that was the right choice to do what we did right now, but it's not going to really change our race results much, but we're gonna save a lot of money by downgrading. I updated the calculator tool for the wear, and then we're going to choose the 45 CTR, which corresponds to this 1 click higher than what we did where we used the 28. Because we do the 1 pit stop, then we need to use 1 click higher. We also copied the wear into our calculator tool. We entered the temperature values, and we see the average temperature is about 30. We copied the track characteristics into our calculator tool, and we can see it shows 1.31, which is in between 1 and 2 pit stops. We want to do the less pit stop because there's many people in the amateur group and it's difficult to overtake, so we're going to be faster by doing less pit stops. We entered the tire wear into our calculator tool, and we can do 44 laps before our tire wear is a bit risky, and we can have higher fuel for the starting stint so we don't lose as much time being stuck behind others. We also entered the fuel required. We're gonna find the setup for the race. We're going to find the wing spread. You can see that lap 7 was the center, and we reduce the wing by 100 points each time. So we're using this lap 7 minus a bit, so I'm closer to the lap 8. I think the qualifying time is very good because we're less than 0.2 of our net time. We entered the setup. We entered the fuel. We entered the fuel and we're gonna do boost lap near the end of the race. We entered the values. We entered the setup. We entered the lower risk in overtaking by 5 points, and we reduced the defend risk by 2 points. So there's a 3-point extra gap between defend and overtaking, because our driver only made mistakes during overtaking last race. We entered the 35 risk, which corresponds to the 37 CTR. And then we have one more click higher, it would be 42 CTR. Accidentally put 45, so we should change it to 42. If we look at our qualifying times, it's very consistent. The gap between first place is somewhat the same. When we look at compared to everyone else, it's even more consistent from Q1 to Q2, but we're like at the bottom of the pack because we chose the one pit stop and potentially people are doing multiple pit stops.